Getting a little nervous about your next haircut? Maybe you've made too many enemies. Maybe somebody at the commission stopped returning your calls. Maybe you recently heard the phrase, "Don't worry, it's just a meeting." Come on down to the Pizzaverse Witness Protection Barbershop, where every chair faces the door. Every mirror is bullet-resistant. And before we put that hot towel over your face, we check the parking lot. Our services include the Lucky Luciano Bathroom Break Special, the Carmine Galanti Cigar Trim, the Crazy Joe Birthday Package, and of course our most popular service, the Albert Anastasia. That's where you sit in the chair, close your eyes, and immediately regret every decision you've made since 1931. At the Pizzaverse Witness Protection Barbershop, we can't guarantee you'll leave looking better. But we're gonna do our damnedest to make sure you leave. The Pizzaverse Witness Protection Barbershop. Because sometimes, just a little off the top means something completely different in organized crime. A public service announcement from Pizzaverse Studios and Palermo Productions.
Disclaimer. This documentary is presented for educational, historical, analytical, and entertainment purposes only. It discusses organized crime, homicide, alleged mafia activity, law enforcement investigations, informant testimony, historical reporting, and events that have accumulated approximately 70 years worth of mob mythology, newspaper embellishment, courtroom testimony, conflicting recollections, and guys named Sal saying, "Trust me, I was there." Some details surrounding these cases remain disputed. Certain stories, quotes, motives, and legendary details have been repeated for decades, but cannot always be independently verified. Where historical accounts disagree, this documentary attempts to distinguish documented fact from allegation, testimony, popular legend, and mafia folklore. No statement should be interpreted as a formal accusation against any living individual. This documentary does not glorify organized crime, excuse murder, endorse criminal organizations, or recommend settling workplace disagreements with four guys in matching coats outside a steakhouse. All rights remain with their respective owners. This is history. Dark history. With very bad conflict resolution skills. Now let's get into it.
10 Mafia hits history never forgot. Barber chairs, steakhouses, and bloody messages. A Pizzaverse Studios documentary. Presented by Pizzaverse Studios and Palermo Productions. Written by Bambi Palermo. Narrated by Vincent Vinny DiPrio. Produced by Pizzaverse Studios. A Palermo Productions original. The Mafia had rules. You don't hit a made man without approval. You don't bring attention to the family. And you definitely don't get murdered at the barber. Unless you're Albert Anastasia, who helped run an organization called Murder Incorporated. And still didn't see it coming. Because the Mafia didn't just kill people. They sent messages. Sometimes the message was left outside a restaurant. Sometimes it was buried in a cornfield. Sometimes it was sitting in a barber chair. And sometimes the message was so deliberate that everyone who saw the body immediately understood exactly what had been said. These weren't random murders. They were warnings, punishments, power plays, executions, and occasionally spectacular examples of why betraying the wrong person was terrible for your long-term health. These are 10 Mafia hits history never forgot. Albert Anastasia. The Barber Chair. 1957. Albert Anastasia helped run Murder Incorporated, the national crime syndicate's notorious enforcement arm. Hundreds of murders have been attributed to Murder Incorporated, although not all of them can be tied personally to Anastasia. Nicknames: the Mad Hatter, the Lord High Executioner. Not exactly the kind of guy whose barber asked, "So, anything exciting happening at work?" On October 25, 1957, Anastasia walked into the barbershop at the Park Sheraton Hotel in Manhattan. He sat down, closed his eyes, and settled in for a haircut and shave. Two men walked in with scarves covering their faces. They pushed the barber aside and opened fire. Anastasia lurched forward toward the mirror as the gunman kept firing. According to the famous version of the story, he went after their reflections in the mirror. Even at the end, he went after the wrong target. The man who helped run Murder Incorporated was murdered at the barber while getting a shave. The irony was not lost on anyone, except Anastasia, who was dead. Joe Masseria. The Last Hand. 1931. Joe Masseria was one of the most powerful mob bosses in America. He was also losing a war, and his own lieutenant had already decided whose side he was on. Lucky Luciano invited his boss to a restaurant in Coney Island. They ate. They talked. They played cards. Then Luciano allegedly excused himself to use the bathroom. 4 gunmen walked in. Masseria was shot multiple times. And then came one of the most famous images in Mafia history. Joe Masseria lying dead with an ace of spades associated with the scene. Luciano went on to help build the structure of the modern American Mafia. The ace of spades may be legend. Some details of Luciano's perfectly timed bathroom trip may be mob lore too. What isn't legend is that Luciano helped arrange Masseria's murder and emerged as one of the architects of the Mafia that followed. In organized crime, apparently even bathroom breaks can become corporate restructuring. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Fake cops. Real guns. 1929. Al Capone was widely believed to want Bugs Moran dead. He didn't manage it. But on February 14, 1929, 7 members and associates of Moran's North Side gang were killed inside a Chicago garage in an attack widely attributed to Capone's organization. Men dressed as police officers arrived as though conducting a routine raid. Moran's men lined up against the wall without resistance. Other gunmen joined them. Then they opened fire. Around 70 rounds were fired from Thompson's submachine guns, along with shotgun fire. One man survived long enough to reach the hospital. Frank Gusenberg. He had been hit repeatedly, with some accounts saying 14 times. Police asked, "Who did it?" Gusenberg reportedly answered, "Nobody shot me." He died hours later. The code held with 14 bullets in him. Bugs Moran arrived late, reportedly saw what appeared to be police activity near the garage, and stayed away. He was the man the killers were believed to have wanted most. And he walked away. Carmine Galante. The cigar. 1979. Carmine Galante had a cigar in his mouth when he died. Still there in the crime scene photographs. Galante was the de facto boss and dominant power in the Bonanno family, and his ambitions in the heroin trade alarmed other mafia leaders. The commission had been patient. Then they stopped. In 1979, official Bonanno boss Philip Rastelli sought commission approval to have Galante killed. He got it. July 12, 1979. Lunch in the garden of a Brooklyn restaurant. 3 masked gunmen walked in. His 2 Sicilian bodyguards did nothing to protect him. They were left unharmed. Whether they knew exactly what was coming has been debated ever since. But somebody clearly decided they were not targets. Carmine Galante was shot to death alongside Leonard Coppola and Giuseppe Turano. The cigar was still in his mouth when photographers arrived. Some men leave behind famous last words. Galante left behind a cigar. Arnold Schuster. The wrong face on television. 1952. Arnold Schuster had nothing to do with the Mafia. He was a 24-year-old salesman from Brooklyn. He spotted notorious bank robber Willie Sutton on the subway. He called police. And he gave a television interview. According to mob informant Joseph Valachi's later account, Albert Anastasia saw the publicity. Anastasia had no connection to Sutton. Sutton wasn't even a Mafia associate. But Anastasia allegedly said, "I can't stand squealers. Hit that guy." Weeks later, Schuster was shot outside his Brooklyn home. His killing became infamous because Schuster wasn't part of organized crime. He wasn't an informant inside the Mafia. He wasn't a rival gangster. He was a civilian who helped police catch a bank robber. If Valachi's account was accurate, a mob boss saw his face on television and decided he didn't like what Schuster represented. Sometimes the most disturbing Mafia stories aren't about gangsters killing gangsters. They're about somebody who accidentally entered their world for 30 seconds. Paul Castellano. Rush Hour. 1985. Paul Castellano ran the Gambino family. John Gotti, then a capo in the family, thought he was an embarrassment. Castellano represented a different kind of Mafia boss. More boardroom than back alley. He skipped the funeral of Neil Della Croce, the Gambino underboss and Gotti's mentor. And Castellano was allegedly having an affair with his housekeeper while his wife lived in the same house. December 16, 1985. Castellano arrived at Sparks Steakhouse in Midtown Manhattan. About 5:30 in the evening. Christmas shoppers everywhere. 4 men in trench coats and Russian-style fur hats were waiting outside. As Castellano stepped out of his car, they shot him repeatedly. His newly appointed underboss, Thomas Bellotti, was shot on the other side of the vehicle. John Gotti and Sammy Gravano watched from a car nearby. Castellano was executed during Christmas rush hour in Midtown Manhattan. Within weeks, Gotti was chosen as the new boss of the Gambino family. And unlike the legend that nobody ever answered for it, John Gotti eventually did. In 1992, Gotti was convicted of ordering the murders of Paul Castellano and Thomas Bellotti. And we are still not at the most disturbing one. Dutch Schultz, the man who voted himself dead. 1935. Dutch Schultz was about to make the worst business decision in Mafia history. A New York special prosecutor named Thomas Dewey was building a case against him. Schultz went to the commission with a proposal. He wanted permission to have Dewey assassinated. The commission said no. Killing one of the most prominent prosecutors in New York would bring heat nobody could survive. Schultz said he'd do it anyway. So syndicate leadership decided to kill Dutch Schultz before Dutch Schultz could kill Dewey. On October 23, 1935, hitmen walked into the Palace Chop House in Newark. Schultz was shot in the men's room. He staggered out, sat down at his table, and asked someone to call an ambulance. He survived about 22 hours in the hospital, delirious for much of the time. A police stenographer sat at his bedside and recorded his rambling statements. Thousands of words. None of them useful. All of them baffling. His most quoted line: "A boy has never wept nor dashed 1,000 kim." Dutch Schultz was killed by the criminal organization around him because he refused to accept that some people were simply too dangerous to murder. Thomas Dewey became governor of New York. Schultz became a cautionary tale. The Spilatro brothers. The basement. 1986. Anthony Spilatro ran Chicago outfit operations in Las Vegas. Too much heat. Too many FBI eyes. The outfit decided he had to go. They also decided his brother Michael was going with him. June 14, 1986. The brothers were called to a meeting at a house in Bensonville, Illinois. According to Nicholas Calabresi's later testimony, Michael had been led to believe he was going to be inducted into the outfit. They walked into the basement. Multiple outfit members were waiting. Both brothers were beaten and strangled to death. The autopsies documented massive blunt force injuries. Their bodies turned up 8 days later in an Indiana cornfield. The Archdiocese of Chicago refused them public Roman Catholic funeral rites. The Spilatros went to what they believed was an important Mafia meeting. There was a basement full of outfit men, and that was the entirety of the promotion. Antonio Caponigro. The Price of Greed. 1980. Angelo Bruno was called the Gentle Dawn. 2 decades running the Philadelphia mob. Genuinely known for avoiding unnecessary violence. His consigliere, Antonio Caponigro, thought this was weakness. In March 1980, Caponigro helped arrange Bruno's murder outside his own home. One problem: no commission approval. Caponigro believed he had a green light from Genovese boss Frank Thierry. Thierry denied it. Caponigro's body turned up in the trunk of a car in the Bronx. He had been beaten, tortured, stabbed, and shot. Cash was stuffed into his mouth and body as a symbol of greed. He killed his boss in a power play. The Mafia killed him, and used money to explain why. Joe, Crazy Joe Gallo. The Birthday Dinner. 1972. Crazy Joe Gallo had spent most of his life making enemies. He challenged mob bosses, kidnapped rival leaders, survived prison. The Colombo family wanted him dead. None of that was a secret. Gallo knew it. According to accounts of the period, he believed Little Italy offered some degree of protection because bringing open violence into that neighborhood meant too many civilians. Too much attention. Too much heat. April 7th, 1972. Gallo's 43rd birthday. The party started at the Copacabana, where the group watched Don Rickles perform. Rickles was invited to join them for dinner afterward. He declined. That decision may very well have saved his life. At around 4:30 in the morning, the group moved to Umberto's clam house on Mulberry Street. Gallo. His wife. Her daughter. His sister. His bodyguard. And others in the party. Spaghetti and clams. The restaurant nearly empty. According to Colombo associate Joseph Luparelli's later account, he happened to be sitting at the bar when Gallo walked in. He got up, walked to a Colombo hangout nearby, and told them Gallo was there. Within minutes, gunmen were on their way. They walked inside and opened fire. More than 20 rounds were reportedly fired during the attack. Gallo was hit several times. According to some accounts, he overturned a table, drew his own weapon, and moved toward the door as the shooting continued. Whether he was deliberately pulling the gunmen away from his family or simply trying to escape has never been completely settled. He collapsed outside Umberto's clam house. He died on his 43rd birthday. The case remains officially unsolved. Bob Dylan wrote a song about him 4 years later. Joe Gallo knew he had enemies. He knew they wanted him dead. He just believed there was one place they wouldn't follow him. He was wrong about that. By more than 20 rounds. A barber chair. A card game. A garage on Valentine's Day. A cigar still clenched between a dead man's teeth. A basement in Illinois. Cash stuffed into a murdered man's body. A birthday dinner that ended on a sidewalk. Every one of these hits was a decision. Not rage. Not impulse. A decision made in advance. Sometimes approved through channels. Sometimes carried out in direct defiance of them. The cigar in Galante's mouth. The money used to mark Caponegro's death. The legend of Anastasia lunging toward the mirror. Gusenberg riddled with bullets telling police nobody shot him. Gallo stumbling toward the door while his family was still inside. These weren't crimes of passion. They were press releases. Everybody was a message. The Mafia spent decades convincing America that it operated by rules. Respect the hierarchy. Keep your mouth shut. Follow orders. Don't embarrass the family. But history tells us something else. Rules lasted exactly as long as they were convenient. Albert Anastasia could survive Murder Incorporated and still die in a barber chair. Paul Castellano could become boss of the Gambino family and still end up on the pavement outside a steakhouse. Dutch Schultz could terrify New York and still discover there were people even organized crime considered untouchable. And Joe Gallo could know exactly how dangerous his world was, and still believe one restaurant, one neighborhood, one birthday dinner was safe. It wasn't. Because in organized crime, power was temporary. Loyalty was conditional. And retirement plans were apparently written in disappearing ink. The most famous Mafia hits weren't remembered simply because somebody died. They were remembered because of how they died. Where they died. Who benefited? And what everyone else was supposed to understand afterward. A chair. A cigar. A restaurant. A basement. A body in a trunk. Every crime scene told a story. And everybody listening knew the language. That was the point.
If you enjoyed this deep dive into organized crime, hidden history, power, betrayal, and the stories that somehow become even stranger once you start digging into them, subscribe to Bambi Palermo and the Pizzaverse. Because around here, we don't rewrite history. We excavate it. We dig underneath the mythology, the headlines, the movies, the legends, and the 50-year-old story somebody's uncle swears happened exactly the way he remembers it. Stay sharp. Stay skeptical. Stay authentic. And to the real ones, thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for sharing the videos, leaving comments, showing up, and helping us keep building this thing one story at a time. Every view matters. Every comment helps. Every person who hits subscribe helps us keep digging deeper into hidden history, organized crime, psychology, strange legends, dark stories, and the parts of the past that deserve a second look. This is Pizzaverse Studios. This is Palermo Productions. This is the Pizzaverse. And we do not miss. I'll see you at the next one. Spirit Halloween presents a Pizzaverse exclusive. Fat, bald Sicilian, the self-proclaimed king of MobTube costume. All pasta, no presents. This Halloween become the dawn of delusion, the capo of clickbait, and the king of contradictions. It's the fat, bald Sicilian costume. He's loud, proud, and never wrong, at least according to himself. Whether he's filming from the kitchen table or crowning himself the ruler of YouTube, this getup's got all the toppings of a real internet-wise guy. Included in the box, microphone of make-believe, now with extra echo for dramatic effect, gold plastic chain of self-importance. Desk chair thrown for command and imaginary cruise. Keyboard of chaos and comes with cabs locked permanently on sunglasses of denial and/or approved. Warning may cause spontaneous rants about loyalty and betrayal. Side effects include overconfidence, fake accents, and delusions of grandeur. Not responsible for loss of subscribers, credibility, or hair. So grab your headset, your ego, and a nice plate of spaghetti this Halloween. It's time to go live. Talk tough and crown yourself royalty of the recliner. Become the boss of your own imagination with a fat, bald Sicilian costume. Where the drama's fake, but the shine on that head, 100% authentic. All talk, no torque. I left the wording intact and only removed the cue markers.
I'm so high, no visine. I don't reply by, please stop typing. I'm not in the mood, don't try write me. Do I look pissed off, bitch? Cause I might be. Don't freak with me and my frequency. No decency. I got too many girls tryna freak my meat to be pressed over little Miss Mini Me. Bitch, pay me my damn respect. Let him sweat, let him sweat, let him sweat. Call Taylor, I'ma need all hands on deck. Let him sweat, let him sweat, let him sweat. I'm not in the mood, come say something. I'm not in the mood, come say something. I'm not in the mood, come say something. Come say something, bitch, come say something. Come say something. Come say something. I'm not in the mood, come say something. Come say something, bitch, come say something. Good luck getting out alive. I don't like to play nice. I didn't mean to hurt you. I heard that all my life. Bitch, I got big dreams, pipe down. Talk shit, get psyched out. Ha. Look who's on the mic now. Not you, bitch, shut the fuck up. Bitch, pay me my damn respect. Let him sweat, let him sweat, let him sweat. Call Taylor, I'ma need all hands on deck. Let him sweat, let him sweat, let him sweat. I'm not in the mood, come say something. I'm not in the mood, come say something. I'm not in the mood, come say something. Come say something, bitch, come say something. Come say something. Come say something. I'm not in the mood, come say something. Come say something, bitch, come say something. Welcome to your funeral. Everybody come on, gather round. Life is so beautiful. Now that I don't see you around, I dare you to run your mouth. I dare you to run your mouth. I dare you to run your mouth. Bitch, I dare you to run your mouth. I'm not in the mood, come say something. I'm not in the mood, come say something. I'm not in the mood, come say something. Come say something, bitch, come say something. Come say something. Come say something. I'm not in the mood, come say something. Come say something, bitch, come say something. I'm not in the mood, come say something. I'm not in the mood, come say something. I'm not in the mood, come say something. Come say something, bitch, come say something.